So, big question here. Can I turn $3,000 into $6,000 by buying special sports cards in the off season? We're talking about football here, and then predicting when in the regular season they will spike. Well, if you want to know how I plan to do this, and if you want to see the cards that I'm doing this with, I've already spent $3,000. I have all these cards on my table. Here, and here, and here. So if you want to see what these cards are and how I plan to do this, then you should stick around. Hey there, and welcome back to the channel. It's me, Logan, and my running mouth. And that is right, we are on a mission to turn $3,000 into $6,000 to make money investing in sports cards. All right, so this is not necessarily your run-of-the-mill buy at $100, sell it at $140, you know, pay 70% comps and sell it at 95% comps. That's what dealers do all day, every day, and they're really good at it. And but I'm not planning to be a dealer because I don't want to buy tons of cards in bulk, and I just don't want to go to the booths. I want to be the, or I don't want to set up booths. I want to be the one going to the booths, right? So we are looking at a slightly different way of doing it, and that is, we know football prices, basketball prices, sports card prices in general are cyclical. There are peaks, there are valleys, right? So if we can figure out when those valleys are and when those peaks will be, then we'll be in good shape. I have 7 cards on me that I am doing this test with, and I'm going to show you both the cards here on the table, and I'm going to show you by sharing my screen how I'm looking at this, how I'm investing, how I'm spending these dollars, and how I plan to turn them into more dollars in the future. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with just revealing what the cards are. Which cards did I buy? How did I spend $3,000 on these cards, right? Then we'll switch over to my screen share where I share why I bought these specific cards and why I think they'll go up. And the last piece kind of incorporated there is, how do we think we're going to predict when these cards are going to basically peak? When do we think we want to sell them during the regular season? And the last but not least, honestly, is, are there downsides? Are there risks? Of course there are risks, and there's very specific things we should be thinking about and looking at to minimize our risks, okay? So if that all sounds good to you, let's get into it. So the first card we bought, we actually bought in threes. So here they are, all 3 of these cards. Let's get opening. And if you like this content, I would really appreciate a thumbs up, okay? A comment and a subscribe, of course. So, all right, the first card came through us through eBay Authenticity Guaranteed, because it's a high value card. All right, high dollar value card. We're talking about Trevor Lawrence. This is a 2020 Panini Select. All right, now this is the 2021 XRC Prism Redemption, and this is a PSA 10, guys. So it's Gem Mint 10, number 401. It is a staple card for a, you know, just these XRC prisms. The liquidity and the demand here is really strong. So this is card number 1, and this is card number 2. All right, so that's 2 of them, and this is card number 3. All right, so these are not cheap, guys. These roughly went for about $700 each. All right, so I think one I got for $680, one I got for $690, one I got for $705, right? So, and I'll pop up on the screen who I bought these from. There's 3 different sellers. It's the exact same card, all right? So this is card number 1, or investment card number 1. We're gonna prop up one of them for you to see. And then the other two will just hang out on the table. All right, that's card number 1. What else do we buy? More Trevor Lawrence. Another one in a eBay authenticity guaranteed. And we have another Trevor Lawrence. This one is another beauty. I love this card. And we'll talk about why Trevor Lawrence, okay? So this is from 2021 Donruss Optic. It is his rated rookie. It's an autograph holo, and it is graded mint 9 auto 9. And we paid $5.90 for this. I'll pop up the seller's information on the screen, but another beautiful card. It is numbered out of 125, so you can see that right there, 125, and it's a beautiful card. This is card number 2. All right, so you can see this theme. It is Trevor Lawrence. So those are our Trevor Lawrence cards. Now we have something else. This big old package here. I don't know why it was packed in a box, but it's a cool card. We have from 2023, it is Will Levis. 2023 Phoenix. This is a Fireburst graded Gem Mint 10, PSA 10. And Fireburst is numbered out of 340. All right, so this is a really cool looking card. The Fireburst didn't cost us a whole lot. This was only $59. Again, seller's information on the screen. $59, Will Levis. So we're buying Will Levis as well. Who else are we buying? We're buying Trevor Lawrence. And then we got 2 more in here, both by the same seller. I'll pop his information on the screen, and this is what we have. More Will Levis. So this one is 2022 Bowman Best University Will Levis, best of 22 autograph. So really cool autograph, graded again PSA 10 Gem Mint. And this one cost us $96.49. And then the other one is Topps Allen and Ginter Will Levis framed mini autograph. This one is graded mint 9, and this one cost us $102. Again, same seller as the last one. So here you have it. We have 7 cards on the table. We've got 4 Trevor Lawrence and 3 Will Levis. Are these the only players we're buying and investing in? No, it's not. But this is who we're going to feature in this video. If you're interested in knowing and seeing some of our other buys, I've done some card show, a few card show videos over the last 3 or 4 weeks that have showcased players like Brock Purdy. I have also bought other Trevor Lawrence cards in there. I am also buying players like Sam Howell, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. So you can see a theme. I am focused on quarterbacks, but I'm focused on quarterbacks that aren't necessarily top of mind, right? These are quarterbacks who more or less failed last year, okay? These are quarterbacks who are not the top of mind like Patrick Mahomes. Everyone's talking about Patrick Mahomes, or everyone's talking about Caleb Williams, right? People are still talking about CJ Stroud. We want to buy quarterbacks that were basically hyped up last year and are now forgotten, okay? But we don't want to buy all quarterbacks. We're not buying Zach Wilson. No, we're not. We're not buying Russell Wilson. Justin Fields, maybe he's a buy. Justin Fields probably a buy. But there's certain quarterbacks and players that it's like the penny stocks. Just because you buy into a penny stock doesn't mean you can't lose all of your money. So be careful. Don't buy things that are going to tank and they're going to go away, like Zach Wilson, okay? I'm not buying Zach Wilson. Or Bryce Young even. He could do well, but he's risky. He's on the verge. If you get some really good prices, I wouldn't mind having a piece of Bryce Young in there, especially because prices are low. But these are quarterbacks that we know are good. We saw them play tremendously over the last few years. Trevor Lawrence, solid player. That could even be quarterback from the Chargers. Why am I blanking? I've bought a number of his. Justin Herbert. I don't know why I forgot his name. Justin Herbert, right? Could be Herbert. It could be Dak Prescott. People who are like, oh, they're amazing. And then at the end of the season, they're like, oh, they're trash. of us forget about them. And so their prices have been at an all-time low. Now, all these cards I'm looking at, football's come back up. So I bought all these in April. So it's all about the cycles of the season, when demand's high, when is demand low. And generally, football begins tanking end of January into February. But it really hits its low in like March, April. It starts to come back as the draft is there in April, right? It starts to come back. June, we're in June now. July, August hits strong with the national convention, and also August and September as the season begins, right? So all the hype comes in. And so you have to understand those cycles and think about when's the low, when should I be buying these players who are solid. We know they're going to play well. We know even they don't have to win the Super Bowl. They don't have to win a championship. They don't have to do anything. All they have to do is play decent, not suck in the regular season, and give collectors hope that they could do well, right? Will Levis looked amazing last year. When he was playing, his stock was up. Did they do anything at all in the postseason? I mean, they didn't even make it to the postseason, did they? Maybe they did, but all I know is they didn't do anything, all right? It's the same thing with the Jaguars. They just, all this potential and they did nothing, but their prices were still up in the regular season because people, it's the hope, it's the potential, it's maybe this guy will make us money. So that's the mindset you have as you buy in the off season when prices are low, when people are not caring. You buy the players who are not high risk. You buy players that are low risk that at minimum you can sell them for what you paid for. Okay? But the idea is that if they're good enough and they're not, again, they're low risk and they're solid players, when they start playing, prices will go up because of the potential and the hope from those collectors. Okay. All right. So it is time to share my screen and show you why I bought certain cards and how I'm thinking about investing and buying these cards. All right, here we go. So I'm looking at an app called Alt. It is app.alt.xyz. And it is a pretty cool app. It shows you, it's similar to Card Ladder and Market Movers, where it will show you indexes, it'll show you cards. You could look at the hottest players, the trends. You can see here, right around the top, hot players, view all. You could see how basketball has trended. Football, you could see football is going up, and it shows you some of the players who are trending, right? So it's a really cool app. I like this app. I also like Card Ladder, which I'll show you in just a moment. But here's how I use this app, okay? I know I want to buy Trevor Lawrence. He's in a handful of QBs that I would say are low risk, solid investments, will not tank. But then I'm looking for cards that are high liquidity, high demand, that will always move. And then what I'm doing is I'm looking at the history of the card. All right. So remember, I paid, what is it? I paid about $700 for these cards. Okay. And you'll see the range. You'll see 698, 66. It looks like there was one in June that did 600. So I might have paid back in April a little on the higher end, or that might have been just been a really good price. You could see these other ones at 650, 705, 695. All right. Now, if I keep going, I go back to February. Let's show more. If I go back to October, we're seeing 1100. If I go back, let's show more. October, 1400. Let's keep going. September last year, 1400. 1200, 1500 September 1st. August 1415, right? So this is in the regular season. As the regular season gets going, a ton of hype into just into the sport, as well as these particular players, right? So again, Trevor Lawrence is a solid player. Every year the season starts, there's going to be hype around Trevor Lawrence, right? So you can see these cards at these prices. I paid $7 roughly. If I could turn around and sell them for $12 or $14 when it peaks in the regular season, then there you go. I've almost doubled my money. So this is the Trevor Lawrence one the first one I showed you. The second Trevor Lawrence one, the Optic, is right here. And let's see. Let's look at the prices. So you can see that I paid $5.90, but even as recently as February 11th, it was $12.25. Let's view more. Let's view all. 1,050 in February, January 1,000, January 1,100. Let's see. And November, what is that? 5. But that's an interesting one. 500 in November. December 1,025. So as you can see, these prices clearly have been higher than $509. So if I could pay, I think I paid $590. If I could pay $590 for this and then sell it for $1,000 or $1,200, I've almost doubled my money. All right, and then the other one I want to show you is the Will Levis Fireburst. So let's go ahead and view all. Remember, we paid just about $70. Sorry, $60. We paid $60 for this. So as I'm looking here, you can see the most recents are 70. I paid 60 in April, 60, 55. There we go. Keep going, 80, 90, April, 90. And then the first sale, it looks like, was back in March 15th. This is probably around when the product released. I don't remember the exact release date, but 90, 80, 90, right? And so Will Levis also was very, very popular last year. His cards were spiking when he was playing. And so something that I had bought for 60 here could easily go for 120, 150. If he does really well, maybe even $200. And so as you see, massive potential with these solid players who, you know, the only thing you really have to worry about, there's two things, okay? There's two things you have to worry about, and I'm going to talk about that in a bit, but let's first talk about another app as well, which gives you an idea of what the overall market index looks like, right? So I'm going to look at Card Ladder. So both, so Alt, I have the free version. Card Ladder, I do have the paid version, as you can see here. This is the football index, okay? This is all time. Look at the last 6 months. You can see lows and highs, right? So we can use this app to look and see how the market is doing relative to the last, let's say, 6 months. And then think about how the players, how their matchups are looking, right? And so when Trevor Lawrence has a good few games, if we look at not just, you know, the overall football market, we can look at his index, right? So Trevor Lawrence has his own index, and you can see how it goes. It went down in December. It was high in September last year, went down December, coming back up in July, right? And this is 2022, and then back up in July 2023, and came back down where we are now. So the idea is we expect this to start coming up again. And when it does come up again, we can kind of compare this relatively and go, you know what, if this hits anywhere close to this line, it's probably time to sell, right? So we can use indexes like this. We can use general knowledge of, is the player entering into a soft a schedule where, you know, kind of know they're going to win a few games, because a lot of this comes down to hype and demand, right? If Trevor Lawrence starts winning, then you know what? His stuff is going to go up. His demand's going to go up. All right. Now, you can see this is one of the risks, is that prices are low, and then super high, and now they're taking back down, right? So it's very possible that these prices of 600, 700, they may just keep going down, right? So there's a chance. You have to think about the market plays a role here. There's a chance that my prices, even though there will be a spike with demand in the regular season going up, it might be the overall market driving prices back down because affordability was so bad and the economy is not great. And so all prices might come down. So that's one of the risks you got to think about. Highly recommend, if you are going to take this strategy and you are going to invest, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't put everything in there. Put a little bit in there, enough where you can afford to, hey, just say, hey, if I lose half, it's okay. It's at the end of the day. So the other thing we have to think about, risk factor, right, is not just the market. We talked about that. So the market, if the market overall goes down, even though you see an increase in demand, it might not be enough for you to make any money. Potentially you could still lose money, right? So definitely don't put all your eggs in one basket. The other potential risk here too is if they get injured. So if they get injured, if they have a really bad season, then you potentially not looking at making any money, potentially even losing money, right? So you have to really keep all those things in mind. Don't put too much money into this. Don't put more money than you can afford. This is not a low risk necessarily all the time. We try to keep the risk low by picking the right players, but because of market factors and because of, injuries, it's not necessarily, the lowest risk way to make money on cards is to buy and sell immediately. You buy at 75% comps and you sell at 90% comps. That's what most of the dealers try to do, is they go into card shows or they buy in bulk and they go, okay, let me buy all these cards. I'm paying 70 to 75% comps. And then they'll go to a card show and sell it for 90% comps or 95% comps. So they're making their 10% margin, right? So that's low risk because they're not necessarily looking to time things, buy low, sell high. They're just buying and selling. They're buying at let's call it a wholesale cost, and then they're selling at more of a retail cost, right? This is not that. This is trying to time things, buy low, sell high. So there's a lot of things that could go wrong here. We can't predict the future. So we will try to predict the future, and we will hope we could do this. And I will make another video. Let's switch back to my product camera so you can see the cards. As I was saying, we hope that these cards will make us money. We have some nice cards. We have $3,000 of cards here. And keep in mind, this is a small piece. I mean, we got Will Levis here, and we got Trevor Lawrence. This is a small test for me, based on the funds that I have for this channel, based on the funds that I have for buying and selling cards, based on where I am in my life, right? I feel like worst case scenario, I buy these for $3,000, and hey, if things go disastrous, I lose a few $100. Maybe I sell it for $2,500, right? And that sucks. I didn't want to do that, but not the end of the world. I'm not going to lose my investment, right? But I could make a whole bunch of money, right? I could turn this into 6,000, like I said in the thumbnail and the title. So, but if 3,000 is too much for you, which for a lot of people, it is going to be too much for. The ones on the right, these Will Levis cards, I mean, these were maybe a couple $100 total, $300 total, I think. One, two, about $250, right? So the majority of my spend here was on Trevor Lawrence. But these ones on the right are just as doable, just at a lower scale. So I would recommend you take as much risk as you are okay taking. Don't spend too much money. Don't put too much into this. Test things out. Eventually, maybe you can figure out a better way of doing it and you can optimize it and you can make more money. Or maybe you just want to do it as a test, just for fun, as a hobby, to see if you can do it. But it's kind of like gambling. So don't put money into it that you can't afford to lose. So again, as I said at the beginning, if you like this content, I really appreciate a like, comment, and a subscribe. It would really help out the channel and keep me making videos like this. This is one of the first videos of its kind. I want to do a lot more of these types of videos, giving you tips, showing you what I'm buying, and ultimately just having fun showing you cool cards. As always, I appreciate you joining and watching the channel. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye now.